When you're experimenting with drugs, you are really experimenting.
Well, a lot of people, a lot of the hippies in the 60s said, well, the great Messiah is supposed to come in the 60s, and it came in the form of drugs, which I agree. There's a certain amount to be said for that. But in my personal story I have to tell, it really didn't work out so well, so positively, because I began to depend on the drugs. The cocaine was a beautiful high. I mean, I could write songs, I'd get in an elated state, but the come down was so god-awful. I mean, it was so...
How long did it last, this high that you...
2 hours. You got at least 2 hours of a high, then you got another hour and a half of nothing but garbage, which...
Describe that garbage.
Oh, well, it's called heaven and hell. I mean, drugs are a definite balance of heaven and hell. You go to heaven, and you go right to hell. I mean, it's just... I got to say on TV, if anywhere I'd ever say this, that I wouldn't advance on any encouragement to the use of cocaine.
Why does a talented man like you need highs? Wouldn't just having that talent be enough of a high? You have an immense amount of talent. You started as a kid doing things that most grown-ups weren't capable of doing. Why in the world would a man with that kind of God-given talent need any help from drugs?
Okay, you said need help for what reason?
For
writing?
What high do you? Yeah, for writing.
Okay, I say that drugs are not needed by a person of talent, that God blessed me with some talent. I never have utilized grass or any drugs or cocaine to actually, for a stepping stone, to write or create music or create even a thought. I have been taught the difference by my psychiatrist, thank God, of a natural high and a drug high. A drug high is a euphoria that... not like a natural high. When you get off writing a song, you're high. I mean, your chemistry in your body changes. Definite change of chemistry when you're happy as opposed to when you're sad. Drugs also bring a chemical change. We're all chemistry. We're made of chemistry. And I'm not saying I need this high. I say I enjoy this high. I may need this. This might be one of the pitfalls of my semi-addiction to drugs. I guess you'd have to say addiction, just like coffee. I mean, people in America, they get up and they're addicted. They need that cup of coffee for that lift. It's something they look forward to, but that's positive. I say if you look forward to doing something and you get a good result from it, straight ahead, green lights. But I mean, if you find yourself addicted, tempted to go onto the heroin, I mean, forget it. This is where the pits.
Are you off now of drugs?
Oh, I'm off cocaine, thank God. I mean, I did my dose of LSD. It shattered my mind, and I, came back, thank God, in I don't know how many pieces.
What made you come back, Brian?
That's a hard question. I probably came back out of will. My name is Wilson. Maybe that's where I got the will. Sheer will got me back on Earth.
Your brothers help you? The encouragement?
My brothers encouraged me to get out of the sack. Come on, Brian, start writing. Get off your butt.
You were in bed for over 3 years, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, 2.5, 3 years. I hibernated. It's like some kind of a Maharishi in the hills hiding in his bed, snorting cocaine, meditating, and all these weird things. My lights were down weird. I had red lights. And
who paid for all the cocaine? Were you able to do it? It's a very expensive.
Right here. Expensive drug habit.
How expensive?
Oh, it's...
Hundreds
for one
of dollars
day's
a day.
worth, it's over $100 a day. It's not worth it. Who can afford it? Okay, give me some coke. I mean, it just can't do it. You can't do it.
Is it readily available? Easy to come by?
Yeah, it's a street drug. It's called a street drug. It's not something you get through the hospitals or doctors. So the black market, of course, has a lot of that stuff, that white powder, as they call it. It's available to anybody and everybody who has the money to buy it, which, in my case, I made a lot of money with the Beach Boys, and...
a lot of money.
Oh, I made millions of bucks. Unfortunately, I didn't retain that much money. A lot of my investments went kaput. But I'm saying that a lot of people went so far as to say drugs were the Messiah.
Is that a contributing factor toward the breakdown and the leaving the business?
Yeah, there was a certain amount of insecurity that set in that said, I told myself, a little voice said, hey, you're getting a little thin in the pocketbook. And I tend to react very personally to something like that.
Most of us would, to a thin pocketbook.
Yeah, I'm a believer in monetary security. I think that security, that money can buy happiness, opposed to what a lot of people think. I think that money, if you can get something with money that makes you happy, then by God, money made you happy. Let's face it, when you can get money, you're a lucky person like I was. Drugs were expensive, I could afford it. I can't afford them as much as I could. Thank God I don't need them as much as I did, too.
Brian, God bless you for coming on and saying all those things. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You know what I find? I may get to something else. Even though you put the special harmony songs of the Beach Boys together. I understand you're completely deaf in your right ear.
Well,
right?
I'm 96% deaf, which
Well,
is
that's close.
relatively close enough to being deaf.
How did that happen? Was it listening
Well,
to loud sounds or what?
No, it was either at birth, either happened right at birth or happened a couple years after. I was hit in the ear by a friend down the street. He poked me right in the ear, and I thought maybe that was when I went deaf. But I think my folks said that I tend to lean to my left when I was a baby to hear what they said. I would tend to go like this.
I used to do that because my dad used to hit me on this side. That was called rolling with the punches in those days.
Right.
You have no idea what stereo sounds like that, do you?
No, unfortunately. Most of my records, up until Carl, my brother, began helping me do the dub downs, which is transferring from 16-track to a 2-track for pressing. I couldn't hear stereo, and it was sort of like being robbed of some pleasure of life. That everybody, I mean, stereo, when it came in the 50s, everybody was so flipped. And here I was, Brian Wilson didn't hear stereo, so, you know, I think I was a bit robbed of that pleasure, and I still miss it. I think it's like being born blind. You try to describe something to somebody, what's it like, you know. So it's, unfortunately, I'm not complaining, but it is a little bit of a setback to not hear stereo, and I'm sure that if I ever get my ear back, if science advances far enough to where they can say, okay, here you go, you got 2 ears now, well, I'll be very grateful. Thank God for it.
Here's an album called Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys. A different sound for the group this time, however, and I think you'll really find it interesting. But before I play it for you, I'm happy to say that the head man of the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, is on the line with me right now. How are you, Brian?
Fine. How are you, Jack?
Fine, thanks. Now, about this album, Brian, you've done some unusual things here. For one thing, in addition to the kind of music you've recorded, you've eliminated the echo effect so often used in recording.
Well, that's true because we didn't have an echo chamber at the studio, and we just sort of liked the sound without echo, so most of it ended up without echo, you know.
By studio, you mean the studio at your home, isn't that right?
Most of it, yeah.
Is this sound and material an indication of things to come for such groups as your Beach Boys?
Well, I don't know. I just think it's not really an indication of things to come for us or anything. It's just we just had a particular atmosphere, you know, that we were working in, inspired that particular kind of things that were on the album.
Uh-huh.
We, you know, did it in 3 weeks. We had about 6 months before that we were doing different things, but we jumped.
Uh-huh.
And ended up doing the whole thing here at the house with sort of an entirely different mood and approach than we originally started out, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brian, I'm going to give our listeners a sample of this Smiley Smile album of yours right about here. And this is one you call With Me Tonight. Here are the Beach Boys. From our featured album for this session, Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys, that was With Me Tonight. And if you just tuned in, we just happen to have Brian Wilson, the leader of the Beach Boys, on the phone with us here. Brian, who was that at the beginning of this track we just played who said good right while you were singing?
That's a guy named Arnie Geller.
Uh-huh. Well, what was the reason for that?
Well, it was an accident, but it worked out just right.
Where was he?
He was in the studio, in the booth, and he said good, you know.
Yeah.
And it just worked out.
I see.
So we left it in.
I get it. Well, Brian, thanks very much for being with us here on the phone and telling us about this Smiley Smile album. It was nice having you on the show again.
Well,